Joined by Marty Biron and Jamie McLennan. Gentlemen, after his fourth hat trick of the season, Auston Matthews is now on pace for 71 goals. He's up to fifth in the odds on FanDuel at plus 1,200 to win the MVP. The Oilers have won 20 of their last 23 games, and they're tied for fifth in the Stanley Cup odds at plus 1,100. Marty, which semi-long shot has a better chance of happening? A second MVP for Matthews, or the Oilers' first Stanley Cup win since 1990?
I'm going to say a second MVP for Auston Matthews because we've seen it happen before, and he had only scored 60 goals that year. So if he gets to 70 goals this year, I think it's a shoo-in for Matthews to get it. We haven't seen the Oilers win a Stanley Cup. We don't know what that's going to look like in the playoffs. Is that going to be Stuart Skinner from the regular season this year and last year, or Stuart Skinner from the playoffs from last season and the start of this regular season? So I'm going with the thing that I know has been there and has been accomplished before, and that's Matthews winning an MVP. I'm saying if he gets anywhere close to 70, that would be Matthews' MVP to lose.
Well, I would say that Nathan McKinnon and Kucherov and some of the players, Quinn Hughes, Pettersson, have something to say about that as well. That's why it's a little bit of a long shot, but you're right. He's been fantastic. If he hits 70, he has to be in that conversation. But the last two games alone, I've watched the Edmonton Oilers play a different type of game. And I know they've won 12 in a row. They've been fantastic. But Connor McDavid has become a different type of leader. It's not about points, but it's about winning the game that they're in at that moment. Again, a physical battle against Morgan Rielly. He punches him twice in the head, goes to the front of the net, ends up out-battling Auston Matthews. The game-winning goal doesn't even get a point on it, but he makes it all happen. Same thing last night against the Seattle Kraken. Yanni Gourde goes high and heavy on Ekholm. And who's the first guy there that attacks him? It's Connor McDavid. He doesn't wade into the pile. He doesn't wait for somebody to come for reinforcements. It's the type of leadership that I'm seeing. So this team is galvanized. They've come together. They've been through some tough stuff. I'm sure there's going to be some ups and downs this season. But ultimately, I think it's going to be the Edmonton Oilers because they've found a formula to know how to win in really tight games. They've tightened up defensively. Their goaltending's been good. So I'm picking Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers.
All right, so we've talked at length about the Leafs trade deadline needs. What about the Oilers, guys? With them playing so well, their needs may be a little less obvious. So I ask you, Noodles, what do you think Ken Holland needs to look at bringing in between now and the March 8th NHL trade deadline?
I would say on the fourth line, some size. Now, if that's in-house, you're going to call up Holloway, guys like that. But if not, it's the Nick Bjugstad that you acquired last year, and he ended up signing in Arizona. Somebody who can play center, can kill penalties, and have some size in battle in the playoffs. Add another depth defenseman, and Stuart Skinner needs somebody to play with. Skinner is the guy. He's the starter, but they need some of the minutes to come off of Skinner because they can't play him 65, 68 games this season. He has to be the guy, but he needs a little bit of a veteran help. So those are the three things I've identified for the Oilers.
Yeah, I agree with you, Noodles, on the depth forward. Listen, this is a team that you do have Hyman, Nugent Hopkins, Draisaitl, McDavid, Kane. You've got top hand when it comes to your forwards. And you did acquire Ekholm last year. So with the emergence of Evan Bouchard as well, I think that on defense, you're good. Stuart Skinner's your goalie in the playoffs, right? He's going to be the one playing all the games. And yes, maybe you got to give him a break here and there down the stretch. But I don't know that that's a need that will make a difference when it gets to the playoffs and winning a Stanley Cup. Having a backup goaltender, that's great, but that's not going to win you a cup. But up front, if you can add a piece or two in your bottom six, your bottom two lines, and they can give the Oilers that 1, 2, 3, 4 that you've been looking for many years now, I think that would be the thing that would put them over the top. So for me, it's depth at the forward position. The other two would be a luxury, but no need to have it to win a cup this year.
For the record, Canadians have been better at winning the MVP than the Stanley Cup. It's well documented. The last Canadian Cup champ, Montreal, back in 1993. But individually, players on Canadian teams have scooped up 8 Hart trophies since that drought began.